I think you're exactly right on the point there, mate. Overall, we're going to be seeing it's going to be hard to wall. It's definitely possible. We've seen that, but it's going to be hard to wall. There should be heaps of aggression early on, and that's what we're here for.
All right, man. I'm excited for this. So to everyone in the Twitch chat, when the game begins, I want you to just simply type the clan that you're rooting for here. Do you want Frantic or do you want SY? And we'll find out who the victor is in a few moments. And here we are into game number 1 between SY and Frantic. In the yellow, we have CL. CL is playing for Frantic. He is playing as the Franks. And then not far away is Tim. And Tim is very close by, and Tim is playing as the Britons.
For SY in the blue as the Britons, we have Yo, his partner going to be Lix, playing in the green as the Franks. Man, what are we in for? This should be just a doozy of a final.
Yeah, it seems like every single set, every single best of 5 has Franks to start it off, right? Just get that Civ out of the way. It seems to be the pick. And, dude, right off the bat, I noticed, look how close Tim and CL are. They are next-door neighbors.
At the end of the day, that's going to make it so easy in terms of team play and team defense. Being able to kind of whip across and be able to help your friend out, help them kind of move across the game overall, that's going to be a huge piece of the puzzle here in terms of being able to really map this one out.
Yeah, there's 2 elements to it, right? So in Feudal Age and Castle Age, when you're looking to communicate with an ally, you're then very close to each other. But as the game goes on, that actually gets worse and worse for you because you're going to want to secure a corner for trade. So if we're thinking about that now, there's that eastern corner. Frantic can take that, but the southern corner will be difficult, and the northern corner will be very difficult. So I do give the SY team more of an edge if this game goes on for a while. And we will likely see the Britain players open up with archers, and we will likely see the Frank players open up with scouts. And so it will then be archers versus scouts on each flank.
I think that's exactly what we're going to be expecting here. Just talking about where these people are located as well. If you look, they're just such into a small corner there for the Frantic guys overall. They can get pushed back into that very, very easily. So I think the thing they need to be careful of as well is they don't take any too much aggression on the front, really, and they don't get pushed back and kind of pigeonholed back there.
Yeah, and CL's map, just looking at it now, it could be awkward for him. You know, these boars on the hill is certainly not ideal, but he's able to bring his first boar in time now. He does have that gold on the back. He has the wood lines on the back, but I'm just wondering, being this close to the hill, is that good or is it bad? Because both he and Tim are so close to that hill, so if they end up losing any fights, they could have Britain crossbows and Frank knights on top of the hill right in front of them.
Well, it's a damaging situation to look at there. If that does play out, it's going to be such an advantage. And obviously, as the aggressor, that advantage is nice to have. If you've ever been in that defensive situation, you know it's definitely not so fun. Not being able to get equal trades, not exactly what you're looking at overall. CL, though, looking at his base, he could actually potentially go for an easy wall up, which is kind of what we've seen for him. Still quite open on that front area, but that little patch of trees in the middle there should just help him out in terms of walling across. And as far as it's gone, I think we've seen him wall in every match thus far of the semifinals, and now into the finals. I'm not thinking it's going to be any different.
Yeah, I wish we could get some stats on how early CL tends to wall, because if we could get that stat out, I'm pretty sure this would be breaking the what's the word? The average. That's the word. This would be breaking the average. He hasn't placed any walls, but you know, I'm just thinking about this. I actually prefer SY's position a little bit better because they have more flat ground, right? So once the TCs come up, it'll be easier for them. They won't be under as much pressure because they don't have the hills, and also they will be closer to the corners because of the trade and how important that can be. So if I'm a Frantic player, if I'm CL, if I'm Tim, I make sure that you take advantage of the fact that you're close to your ally. You take advantage of that with good communication with your archers, good communication with your scouts.
We're seeing a little bit of aggression up here from CL, trying to kind of, I guess, just pick away at one of the villages Yo was putting down, just trying to delay those walls as much as possible. Obviously not going to get there in Dark Age, but got a good amount of idle time out of it, so that kind of helps overall a little bit. But there's Tim going down with the walls straight away, and we can see CL starting to put them down as well. So really starting to think ahead.
Yep. So Tim researching Loom now. Walls are going up on the left. Another lumber camp. This is expected. This will be scouts for him. Or no, he's Britons. I'm sorry, chat. I'm sorry. I meant to say archers. I was just a misclick.
Testing
That's
you.
all it was. Yeah, it was just a test. But it's going to be the same. You know, whether you're going scouts, whether you're going archers, you are going to go for 2 lumber camps, then position villagers either to gold or just onto food.
Basically, from there, it's just making your way up to the feudal age, trying to get your base set out as best as you can in terms of defense overall. Kind of the reason we're seeing so many walls get dropped down by CL, seeing happen by Tim. Tim getting really game and going for that wall on the front there. Overall, he's got a pretty easy wood line to kind of wall in there, so it's not going to be too much of a stretch for him. But being able to kind of sit back behind this thing, and that hill, that is the worry. It keeps coming back to there. That's going to be their open side. That's where the damage can be done, and that's where it's the hardest to push them away from.
And they both have the hill as well. You know, it's not like it's just one individual on the team. It is both. But these guys have played plenty of Arabia games. They know how to deal with having a hill on the front.
That's it. At this stage of play we're looking at, these things are quite minute. Until they start to really come into play, we're not going to be really seeing it happen too badly or anything happen too badly on that front. But it looks like we're seeing some poking here by Yo, trying to see exactly what's going on. Can't really find too much, but he has spotted all the walls. He's spotted the stables coming up, so he does have a good idea of what should be coming.
So oftentimes what this comes down to is in early feudal age, the scouts, they hold a lot more weight. For archers, they create slow. You need to have 2 archer ranges. It just takes a little bit of time. Whereas scouts, you get 2 or 3 of them, you can start picking off villagers. So we will see the scouts created, but the walls will also be placed. So you need to be careful not to create too many scouts because then you'll just be running into walls. And then once the archers get to about 5 to 10 with fletching, then the scouts are less important. Then the players going scouts will look towards Castle Age to go knights. And it's all about keeping the numbers alive for the Britain players.
We just saw some amazing play by Lix. He managed to delay the archer ranges from Tim quite heavily. Overall, you can see he's only just getting his first range up now, whereas Yo's already got his 2 up. You've seen the stables are all quite fairly developed. There was a scout basically sitting on top of that, force the villagers away to berries, and then essentially move back to finish that off quite slowly. So a little bit of an advantage there in terms of actually popping up towards Yo, I guess.
Okay, well, good small detail there. Yo's currently at 4 archers. So, I mean, there's just 1 or 2 in it at this point, but every little bit helps, right? It's about those small advantages.
Oh, it's just interesting seeing how exactly on point he was. He was ready to just stand on it and go from there. And we can see Lix doing a little bit of poking and prodding against Tim here, trying to find a way, and we'll find the spear and lose the scout to it.
Yeah, it's a kind of a weird fight there. I don't think that's worth it to lose the 2 scouts. But maybe if he's able to harass Tim a little bit more, I'll like the decision. Let's see. These are Frank scouts. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. I think he's annoying Tim enough where that's probably worth it for him.
Let's have a look. So he's getting in there. Yeah, he's doing the damage, utilizing that hill as best he can. Couple of archers out. That should kind of force these 2 away from this point. So they won't be able to really kind of come in until they've got much more mass. But there we go. 5 archers out in play. 6. There we go. Man,
Lix, he turned around 2 or 3 times there to attack Tim's scout, getting every bit of HP he can. And Yo and Lix, they seem in full control of where the game is going, right? They are dictating the play. They know where Tim has his archers. They know where CL has his scouts. So that is very much good for them.
It's perfect in terms of map control. It means they know kind of where they're safe, where they're hurting. It means they have a good option to kind of move around and do what they need to do to get any damage, or just try and get some picks here and there. And it looks like we do see a little bit more of a wall coming up by Tim as well, almost walling all the way over to CL. Man, every player pretty much fully walled in at this point, except Tim, just due to that little spot that needs to be finished up. But it looks like we will see a bit of an engagement here.
Yeah, interesting engagement. You got to keep in mind the Frantic players have their stables and archer ranges very close to this. So I don't know if this is a fight that SY is going to like at the end of the day. CL has a lot of scouts here, and Tim has more archers than Yo does. One big difference is that Yo had fletching, but it doesn't seem to matter too much. I like this fight better for Frantic.
That's it. And like you said, we literally got to see the reinforce from the stable to that scout cavalry into the fight there straight away. Being able to reinforce that quickly and be able to bring more units into the fray, fantastic to be able to get it in that quickly.
Yeah, I don't know if that fight was necessary for Lix. Certainly not for Yo, because again, it is about numbers, right? And now he's at 7 military while it is 12 for Tim. Just a few more small details I've noticed throughout watching this game. And I'm not sure if Yo has researched it, but I saw Tim go for horse color soon after he hit feudal age. sometimes you'll see players delay that horse color upgrade so they can get fletching. You see Tim's just now getting fletching now, so I'd say it's worth it for him to do that, and his economy might be better off because of it.
Interestingly enough, we're actually seeing a market go down for Yo now. I'm looking to see, he's got the blacksmith, so he's got that there. It looks like he's trying to do something with that. That could be a little bit interesting.
Yeah, market, very, very helpful because of the free Carto, of course. And especially now when you need to know where your ally is. You guys don't have the numbers on your team, right? So market will go up. Might see him buy a few resources because it's about hitting the castle age as fast as possible now for the power spikes.
Absolutely. He's got the stone there he can sell off if he wants to. Obviously going to be a little bit of a big hit to do so, but getting pretty close, and he does have options there in terms of what he does want to do. We've got the market up for Licks as well, so it looks like he's looking at that front too. And back for the Frantic guys, I don't think we've seen a market come up from either of them yet. Wait, no, there we go. There's one from CL.
CL is creating a lot of scouts. In fact, he just created one more. And it's almost like they were saying, well, we killed all their archers, so let's push now. But they maybe didn't think about the fact that SY would be full walled, and Licks will have a huge edge in the castle age time, and he will have knights. The CL, I don't know, man. I feel like this is a bit of a waste for him to create these scouts.
I agree entirely. It's one of those things where an idle military unit, at the end of the day, if it's not doing anything, it's not paying for its cost. And if that's going to sacrifice your castle time, like looking at that, it's a good minute and a half advantage towards Licks. That's going to be a huge deal, especially when it comes towards creating knights.
Well, they do kill the stable, which is nice. They force Licks to create another one, but Licks places that in a very nice position. And I think it's not the end of the world for CL and for Tim, of course, but they need to think about moving back because Yo will hit Castle Age faster than Tim will, and Licks is already there, and CL, we've already mentioned, he'll be behind, so you do not want to stay here for very long if you are Tim and CL.
Well, it can get very, very rough very quickly here. We've got the extra town center getting thrown down by Licks, so that'll help him with the defense. But here come the archers from Mr. Yo. Obviously, don't probably want to take this engagement just yet, but those knights, that's going to turn the tide very quickly.
Yeah, this is interesting, you know? I saw CL patrolling around with that scout. He knew that Yo might be coming in. This isn't all that bad because he's killing a lot of Yo's archers. And Tim, he might just be able to get away here. Tim's running back. The knights are chasing him, though, and it's just the time difference, man. It's just the time difference that Licks has. He's already at 4 knights.
Man, this is kind of what you want to see. It's a very back-and-forth game thus far. Both players and teams, I should say, taking as many advantages as they can in these small little fights, trying to weed away. We've got Chain Barding coming down for CL. He knows what he wants to do here. And it looks like Yo finally getting up into crossbowman. There we go.
Yeah, this is... You know, I think CL's engagement versus Yo's archers was as good as it gets, but still not a fantastic situation for them. A slight Vil lead now for Yo and Licks because they have reached Castle Age faster, and a huge knight number lead, and a pretty significant crossbow lead as well. So military and eco now in favor of SY, and another Vil from Tim goes down. His archers will have to leave the archery ranges. CL needs to get here.
Well, this is when it becomes so important about having that team aspect of it. Knowing this was coming and having some units there to help out would have been fantastic. He's got a couple of knights, and it looks like he's going around the back, ready to kind of stack towards the TC. Overall, we do have 3 town centers going down from Mr. Yo, so we will be on the 3. We've got 2 in play for Licks in total as well, and I think I saw 1 coming down for CL. So yes, on 2 there at the moment as well. Tim getting his second down on his gold there as well, but about to lose an archery range on the front.
Yeah, you have to rebuild them now. This is so costly for Tim. And, you know, a big reason why they can't push this is because of the hill. If they come from the north side, Yo will just gain the hill. If they come from the east side, Yo will just gain the hill. And Yo is using his range, getting some great pickoffs. Wow, what a performance from Licks and Yo so far. And they know how important this hill is. They will not leave it.
They've been proving the entire tournament. They know exactly where to sit. They'll move together. They do a really good job of keeping that clump. And I guess that's probably the best way to kind of describe it overall. But they're kind of moving away now, but they're chasing down those knights from CL. And again, we've got a couple of knights coming in for Licks. Going to try and come in, get a couple of villages, and he might get it. There's one.
Yeah, man. Knights moving around. Licks has been so good with his knights today. Even in the game 1 they lost earlier versus Finland's. And Lix was doing a great job with his knights, and Yo and Lix pushing up this hill now. So they're at CL's hill, and now CL's gonna lose a stable. When will this stop, man?
Wow, we've got 35 crossbows or 35 military on the way for Yo already. That's a huge amount to have out in play at this point in time. The next closest being 23 with him. How do you compete against that this early? He's lost one of his range. He's been forced to throw up more behind, so he's had to do the cost there. And looking at the amount of knights we've got out at the moment for CL, it's going to be a pretty dead set close fight.
Yeah, it's just the momentum. The fact that CL and Tim have had idle villagers and they don't have as many as well on top of that, it means that as this game goes on, SY's only getting stronger because of all these things. But you do not want to run in too far. Exactly. You do not want to run in too far if you're Lix. You have to stick with Yo.
And that's where it's really going to kind of come into as well. That team play we've been seeing, the ability to stay together. It's nice that we saw the markets come down that early so they could adapt and play that way. Tim already going down with Ballistics, so that's going to be nice to see on the board nice and early. But at the end of the day, I think we've already seen it from Yo.
After that first fight where Yo lost the archers, this has been flawless from SY. They haven't made one mistake. They've made every correct decision. They've been in the correct place at all times. Every fight has been good. This is incredible Age of Empires 2.
The level we've been seeing over the last couple of matches has been just phenomenal. It seems like something we've never seen in victories. But here it goes. It looks like we might be seeing the engagement here. Getting a knight before it even begins. Good pick. The crossbow showing why they're so strong.
And knights are the most important here. And Lix, I was just saying a moment ago how his knights normally do the job for him. And I think they've done it again. It's so tough to judge.
Man, there's still so many leftover knights there from Lix. His bulk's really done a good job here. And so little crossbow losses. Mr. Yo still on 43.
Yeah, and now Tim's surrounded by knights. Yo's pushing in with the crossbows. CL has to run away from his farms yet again. He's rebuilding stables to get more knights, but everything is falling apart for Frantic. They are frantically falling back into CL's base. Oh, goodness, this is not looking good.
They've had to withdraw their villages from some of that closer areas of the wood line there, trying to get a siege workshop down, desperately trying to push it up at this stage, get a mangonel or just something to be able to push this one back. But I don't know if they're going to be able to. Mr. Yo got some crossbows at the top now as well, firing in at the villages on the lumber. He's got some towards the side, firing in on the barracks. He's just kind of bringing this one in and just increasing that stranglehold.
Again, it's just flawless play. Just to think, to put those two crossbows there to delay 10 villagers, that is a huge, big play move. And Yo is killing these knights as they run up the hill. CL does not stand a chance against these numbers, and it wouldn't surprise me to see the GG call soon because SY playing so dominant here.
That's it. How do you fight your way back from this point overall? You've got 78 villages for Yo, 80 for Link, compared to 59 of CL, 67 of Tim. The military count, 44 for Yo, 20 for Link, compared to 6 of CL and 22 of Tim. How do you pull it back from here? You just don't have the masses you need.
Yeah, I mean, there was a few opportunities, right? There's a few opportunities. I think they went for it when CL engaged with the Knights. But while the Knight numbers were close to what Lix has, the crossbow numbers were not the same. And that's not going to get any better for them now as Tim encounters 10 Lix Knights. And Lix will just wipe them up. Oh my goodness.
CL trying to get a good mangonel hit back at base, but doesn't really manage it. Could come in now, but no, loses it. The range on those crossbows from the Britons. Range in Castle Age.
And the communication from SY as well. They are SY synced. They're synced, guys. It was beautiful. I mean, even Lix jumped in there with the Knight. He noticed that. He picked off the mango. I don't see a way back now. Looking at the vill counts, looking at the military counts. And Frantic, they're trying. But...
oh, they're doing everything they can, but at the same time, what do you do about this? Yo clicking up to Imperial, but the crossbows at the moment, they're just denying all these farms. Look at the amount of idle farms we've got. Those idle villages garrisoned just next to the corner there, trying to get them going, but one or two crossbows, all they have to do is just move in a little bit, and they've got that stranglehold completely back.
Yeah, and the guy's so confident. He's coming forward now with archery ranges and barracks. I don't know, is this the third, fourth stable they're going to kill? I don't know how many buildings they've killed without siege, but it's been a pretty large number. And the split from Mr. Yo. Goodness, this guy's paying attention to every moment.
It's beautiful. They are not missing a beat right now. They're doing everything that needs to be done, and they're executing it flawlessly.
And there's the GG. And they were so good that game that Yo could have lost those crossbows and it still wouldn't have mattered. He was going to hit the Imperial Age. He would have had plenty more where that came from. And Lix, he was on 6 stables at home. It just insanity. And if you're Frantic after game 1, you've got to be thinking, geez. I mean, we were a bit unfortunate with the maps because we're next to the hills here. But damn, we've got to be smarter because SY is playing the best Age of Empires 2 that they played, I think, in this entire tournament.
It's the level they're at right here, considering they lost that kind of first major engagement and managed to pull it back so quickly. Look, you've even got Yo dropping down 4 to archery ranges. Like, the man knows what up. You've got this stream of crossbows coming across the map. There's little clumps here and there. Like, this one crossbow in the back of the woodline towards the north of CL's base. That's what's making it.
Amazing stuff, man. Let's move on to the achievements. We're all about the stats, right?
And we love that strat.
Let's see here. So I wanted to see the buildings lost because I'm just curious because keep in mind that these buildings were lost to units that were not siege units. So it was 7 total buildings that were killed. Probably like 4 or 5 military buildings that CL and Tim lost combined. Yo with an amazing KD, Lix with an amazing KD, and the Eco Lix with more food and more gold, and Yo with more wood and more stone. That is as close as we get to flawless, as I said.
Oh, man, it was just beautiful in every sense of the word. The whole way they used as a team overall, they kept their army together. They found every little nook and cranny they could get into to do damage. That's what you want to see in a competitive game this high.
Well, awesome stuff. I'm not sure if Zach needs to hop in to talk about anything.
I don't need to, but I can.
If
Hello.
Not, we can move on to game 2.
I don't need to, but I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
No, it's cool. I mean, that was such a sick game from SY. They just sort of opened the tap and then they just flooded the map.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they just didn't let up. They didn't even give them a chance to push out and counterattack, because the second that Frantic try and send a unit across the map, like, they just leave themselves undefended and they get crushed on the front. So SY had them in the palm of their hands, and I think they kept them there and they made sure that they could keep them where they could see them and end up just strangle holding them out, essentially.
Yeah, man.
I feel like that game was real, like, wrestling. Pro wrestling from SY.
Yeah.
Off the top, off the top shelf. No, not the chair, please. Please, not the chair. That's what Frantic was saying.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure that's exactly what they're saying, man.
Anyway.
All right, well, let me make sure I have game 2 here. I think I'm set for game 2. Turkman, are you good to go as well?
I'm booted in, ready to go, mate.
All right, Zach. So we're going to synchronize this then?
Synchronize watches.
All right.
Yeah, it would be useful if I had... It's game 2 is the one that we're counting down for, right?
Correct, yes. Yep.
Okay, let me just get sorted here. Give me a second.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So in the meantime, guys, it's been a joy to cast this today. It was a lot of fun. As Zach mentioned and Turkman mentioned, Turkman and I were casting earlier. I'm really happy to be in a place where Frantic and SY, Suomi, Vietnam Legends, these teams beat out some of the other teams who lost in the quarters. I know that there's a lot of secret fans out there, but it is good for the Age of Empires 2 community to see clans like SY and Frantic in the final of this 2v2 stage. Very, very good for the scene.
Oh, absolutely. Showing that these people can be beaten, that you can rise to such a high level overall of play. It's the absolute best we can see out of the scene. It's really pulling everyone up. Ever since ECL started, the improvement we've seen on every player that's been involved has been just absolutely just leagues above what we were used to.
Yeah, it's nice to see the players and teams practicing as well. I've seen a lot of sort of friendly games, or rated games, I should say, actually being played on the map pack. So players and teams are getting some experience with the maps as well. I really like to see that.
There are definitely a lot of training games going on behind closed doors as well.
Yes.
Which I won't lie, and this is a little selfish. It's a little bit frustrating at times when I get on to cast-rated games, and 8 of the best players in the world are training behind closed doors, and I'm like, well, damn it, you know.
Yeah.
But certainly it's showing here.
Don't say cast and rated too quickly together.
Yeah.
It sounded wrong. I don't know what you're doing to their games, but just don't.
Yeah, I won't castrate them, I promise.
Yeah, please no.
All right, man.
All right. Well, I'm ready to go with the next one. I'll shut up.
All right, sweet. All right, so 3, 2, 1.
We're in.
I'll be in here in a second. I just want to make sure I did this correctly. I'm so bad with technology, man. I can cast Age of Empires too. Technology's not my thing, but all right. I am in and I'm good to go.
All right. Question, what are you at time-wise then? In-game time.
15 seconds, so we're probably close.
Right. I'm going to pause it for 20 seconds.
All right, that works. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Game 2 of the 2v2 ECL Africa Final. This is a game that CL needs to turn it around in, and he has one of his favorite civs. And Tim has one of his favorite civs. This Frantic team, they love their walls, they love their unique units, and they are in the north of the map. We have Tim in the red again playing as Spanish, and then in the yellow we have CL playing as Mayans.
We've seen nothing but a monster play out of SY this entire day of play overall. In the blue, playing as the Mayans, we have Yo, his ally for this game, going to be in the green as Lix. Who have we got him playing as? The Berbers. It should be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, right off the bat, I kind of expect we will see Plumes from CL, that or any type of archer. I mentioned Tim likes his conquistadors, but it wouldn't make much sense to see Tim go for conks in this if his ally's going archers, so probably just your standard scouts into knights for him, while Lix will probably go scouts into knights as well, and then I'm assuming Mr. Yo will also go for plumes.
We've seen a lot of that play in general, and it's kind of the way to do it overall, having one archer or one ranged player, then backed up by one player with a much beefier unit, so they can kind of soak up that damage, they can push directly in, they can try to claim territory through it, and that's what we're going to kind of expect from this game as well.
Yeah, so if you're going for plumed archers, as we've discussed all day, because this is regular occurrence now, you need to have safe stone piles. And you look at Yo, and his stone's in a nice position, though his secondary stone's pretty far forward. He could wall this off. I know the main goal, it's a bit awkward, but this is certainly doable for him. He'll have the time for it. And then we look over to CL, and CL's main stone is... Oh, God, I can't even look at that without feeling uncomfortable, man. That's tough. His whole base is going to be tough to wall off, but he does have a secondary stone in the back, fortunately. Oh, I'm really curious to see, like, we know this guy walls early, right?
That's it. And looking at this, it's just a dark time when you see a single wood line and nothing but openness when you scroll around his entire location. He's got that gold in the back, he's got that stone in the front, berries in the front, and he's got nothing to work with here. If he wants to do walls, it's going to be from the edge.
Yeah, I think what he will do, you look at his houses now, I think he will wall diagonally towards the wood line where the deer are, and then he will wall from his TC across to the north to protect his gold, which is certainly doable. And for those that haven't seen CL play, he's known for his early walling, so I'm sure he'll figure it out.
Oh, been known for those walls. That's basically CL's motto at this point. Never kind of takes a chance to wall up where he doesn't go for it. As for Tim, I guess we're seeing kind of the same open towards the front, but look at these wood lines. It's beautiful compared to what we got to see out of CL. He can wall up around there easily if he wants to. He's got the option for a split lumber. He's literally got everything to work with in the world.
Yeah, and you also don't need to mine very early for what he's going for as well. He's going to wall up towards the edge of the map from that house to the edge, and then he'll go for scouts, and then the gold's in a nice little compact little area. And looking at Lix then, Lix could have some issues on the front, but again, going scouts, I think that gold will be completely fine. His berries, his wood line will also be fine once scouts come in. So we'll see, man. We'll see. We could be wrong on our prediction that we'll see plumes. I tend to think that we'll see plumes, but maybe Yo and CL will have a surprise for us.
I guess I wouldn't surprise if he gets pushed away from those stones for whatever reason. Obviously, we could kind of see him just drop into an archery range and then kind of play it off from there. Obviously, plumes being the goal, but I guess it kind of depends on exactly where he kind of gets pulled to from here. And there we go. Seal has started the wall. He's going to do his best.
Yep, and he will drush. So oftentimes when you don't have the best map, a great option is to go for a drush. This stands for Dark Age Rush, and it is just a... Wait, hold on. I think he won't do that. Seems like he's trying to drop off food. Well, scratch that, guys. Scratch that. I think he's going to try and advance the Feudal Age and go either straight into Archers or maybe Man-at-Arms. I thought for sure there a drush was incoming, but hey, props to CL, man. He's keeping us on our toes in the casting booth.
Absolutely. Looking at this, he's already got 2 villagers onto gold as well. Interesting call from here. And look at this wall off towards the left of CL's base as well. That's absolutely huge. A little bit of an Eagle Warrior fight going down near Mr. Yo's base. And how is this going to go? It looks pretty dead even.
Yeah, and Mr. Yo, perhaps thinking that full wall into Plume is a bad idea as well. Oh, God, that Eagle War. Oh, so unfortunate for CL. But Yo will go for Archers as well here, it seems.
Here we go. We can see CL moving forward. This is really what we want to see. He's got some militia out in play. It looks like he's creating some more back at home. But we've got 5 villagers moving forward now. He wants to make something happen.
Wow, some Man-at-Arms into some towers possibly as he goes back to stone. But look at the other side. Tim is thinking the same thing. So we have a double forward, which is pretty rare, actually.
What are we witnessing? This means if they don't do the damage here, there's no one to sweep in with knights and kind of save the day. There's no one to come in with a couple of scouts and really try and bring it back. They're really pushing for this. And there we go. Look at that. Lick's already got the tower coming down.
Yeah, and that's just due to scouting. That's pretty big because I don't think originally he wanted to do this. I think originally he wanted to go for scouts, right? But he saw that this was incoming. And so far, so good for Licks, I'd say. A great defense, and he will get his tower up. However, he needs that stone. He needs that gold around here, and he'll be against Tim's Man-at-Arms.
This is just what we want to see. This is a messy game. We're only in game 2 here. Seeing the mess is absolutely beautiful. And look at that. We've got the spear out attacking the tower. We've got the scout in there as well. Those villagers from Tim. Is he going to lose one? Ooh, just gets out of range, but manages to gets a house up on the stone piles there. There you go.
Well, look at the other side. Yo's defending well. He built an early tower on the gold. Again, possibly because of the scouting with that one single eagle, which is now dead. Fighting with the villagers as well, Turkman. This, not ideal, but it's working.
Look, at the end of the day, if it gets him off his back and it manages to work, it's about getting to the next stage in the game. That's the thing. If you don't get there, there's no point getting there well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense. I can see what you're saying there. Yo lost a villager. Yo lost a villager. And he's making a few archers here. This will take some time. And I just don't think that this has worked out all that well for Frantic on the left-hand side. And on the right-hand side, we will see what Tim can do as he looks to place another tower.
He's got it on the hill. It's a good start overall. We can see Lix is taking the stone, however, so trying to, again, be ready for this push. The Man-at-Arms going to be pretty good at pushing the spears out of there. But here comes the defensive tower again, and going to come in with the spears as well.
Yeah, this is such an unorthodox game, but it's a messy game, and we talk about it a lot. Both SY and Frantic, they excel in messy games. And the tower is up for Tim. He's using that tower to fire upon the units from Lix, but Lix has his counter tower, and he should be able to take this tower down. But, oh, Tim's going to build another one. All right.
We've got a single archer basically pushing CL back across the map at the moment. So it makes it a little bit of an issue for him. He's putting down a defensive tower as well. So he kind of knows what's going on at this point and knows what to be expecting overall.
This is interesting. It's kind of split it into two separate 1v1s. Normally in 2v2s, you do have one person going to scouts, so they're mobile and they can get to the other side. But you'll notice that's not the case right now with Yo going archers, and then we have Lix just defending with towers, actually, at the moment. So if this is a 1v1, Turk, we then have the Spanish player on stone. They could build a castle and go conquistadors. And then we have the Mayan player on stone. They could build a castle and go plumes. So maybe you just kind of fall back, build a few defensive towers and walls, and try and get to Castle Age as fast as possible if you're Frantic.
100% doable. looking at kind of what he's got there in the bank at the moment, it's going to be a little bit of time, but it's definitely doable. He's getting another defensive tower up near the gold and the wood line, so he is kind of buckling down for that straight away. But I'm kind of being told we should do a quick time check. I'm at 15:15.
I'm actually at 15:25 now. I sped up a little bit. I realized that I might have been a little bit behind. So, I mean, what's really important is that Zach is close to us.
Yep.
So, I mean, if I hear anything, I can adjust, but that's where I'm at. You can just slightly fast forward it. And
I've got messages on the side.
yeah, okay. Cool. Sounds good. So, a new tower from Tim now. And Tim is being persistent here, man. Excuse me. Another tower up. This one is not quite in range of the gold, but if he builds one next to the wall, it could be.
Ooh, looking at what's going on here, we've got Licks throwing up a market overall. We've got the tower coming up in the back, so it's going to be a little bit of a hassle for that wood line there overall. Luckily, Licks has split the lumber, so he does have the secondary one, so he's not going to be too pushed for it. But again, we've got more and more towers coming up.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting a lot of map control, isn't he? And he's really disrupted this strong Berber eco that you would need to make the scouts and make the knights and make those camels, perhaps leading himself up towards the next stage. I just love how Tim and CL have played this. Look at CL now. He made one skirmisher and he said, screw that. I'm not wasting any resources on making military. I'm putting the skirm in my tower. And then he built another tower to protect his gold. He built stone walls on the left. This dude is really good at keeping himself protected at home. So it's almost as if Yo's archers are a waste now. Even Tim is going for the stone walls. So this was part of the plan from Frantic, and I'd say this is working according to plan.
So do we expect Mr. Yo then to go for more archers, kind of keep that, I guess, just production up and really push for it? Or do you think it's going to be more likely we see him try and get into an earlier kind of castle age?
Well, when someone walls like this, and when you expect them to be on stone, you kind of have to go for your unique units as well. The benefit of Yo's situation is that he has a few units that can be upgraded quite easily in Castle Age, but I don't know. It's almost like fast track to Castle Age. Go for Pooms if you can, if you're Yo, who is still not on stone. And I guess Licks, you could even consider, if you could have the stone, of course, going Camel Archers. But he can't get the stones, so it's got to be Knights and Camels.
It just does not make it easy looking at this overall. There's so many just clumps of towers, like not one tower sitting on its own kind of thing, but Tim's really just kind of gone, I guess, just as heavy as he can into it to really just make this hurt. And it seems like it's definitely restricting Licks overall. It hasn't done an over amount of damage. I mean, it's denied the lumber camp towards the south of his TC, which is nice, but he's managed to kind of move to the one towards the eastern side. And what are we seeing? Yo, again, those archers just kind of trying to find somewhere to go, and they're just kind of attacking a mill.
Well, they did kill a villager, and they forced Tim to use all those fills to build that. So that's actually a plus because that's idle time.
Yeah.
So he found something, right? Sometimes you want to force your opponent to go into an additional tower, or I don't know. It depends. But yeah, so SY is going to hit Castle Age first at this rate, which is very important. Yo's on the way up, and he will stick with crossbows. And then we have CL right behind him. But Tim, dude, he's really the weak link right now. It's not looking great.
He's got a sneaky villager at the back of Yo's base there. Not exactly sure what he's trying to accomplish with it, but he does have a villager there nonetheless.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of funny, you know? It would be really annoying for Yo if there would be a tower on that wood line. I don't know what that dude is doing out there. Jeez, he's going on a vacation. That's what it is.
Yeah, we'll see if he builds a little house and kind of just sticks it out there. Looking at what we've got here, though, you're right. The Castle Age timing is going to be great for the SY guys. We've got Licks already going down with Scale Barding, so we know kind of what he wants to go for overall. We've got CL up into Castle Age as well. Going to be pretty much quite behind Yo. And
but
then
he'll
off
have
that
a
as
castle.
well. Yeah, big deal.
I'm kind of perplexed. I'm watching Tim at the moment. Obviously, his eco has let him down a bit, but he has good map control with the towers. For now. 4 freaking towers in one area, man. only a Chinese player would build 4 towers in the same area, but that's how they excel. Like, these guys, they like the messy style. They like the towers.
They don't do things by halves. Those towers aren't going down easy. It's going to make it very, very hard to clean that one up later.
Oh, man. Look at Mr. Yo. Mr. Yo's found the vills. Mr. Yo has found the vills. What a play. So these vills better go back to the towers. One vill goes down to... Wow, the last villager survives. Goodness.
Still.
So that's great job, Mr. Yo.
It's rough being able to see that there. Imagine to catch him just when he doesn't want it. What have we got going on for Yo back at base? Keeping up in terms of the Archer production, Crossbow and Bodkin both on the way. We do have, boom, there's the castle coming up for CL overall as well. Tim back at base, just hanging out in Feudal, just about to get up to Castle Age. Starting the research anyway. And there's a double stable Knights already coming down from Licks.
Yeah, and Tim lost another villager there on the stone, which he had walled in. I just don't really get it now. 4 towers in one area that will all die to one battering ram at this rate, and Frantic are just falling apart. It's all on CL now to get the plume numbers, but as we all know, that takes time, and Yo already has 21 crossbows. So the crossbows are definitely going to help here. I think Tim, he's just too late to get into it in Castle, and this is going to be an uphill climb for the Frantic team.
Oh, man, it's not what you want to see kind of this early in the game, too. We've got 2 extra town centers going down for Yo, so getting up to a total of 3. 1 going down for CL, so getting up to a total of 2. And I haven't spied one yet from Licks, and obviously none from Tim.
Yeah. You know, Tim was so late to Castle Age that I genuinely thought that he was going to sling. I kept looking, and I'm thinking, is he going to full wall and send resources to CL? And I wonder if that would have been the better play now, because his Knights will be so late. He's lost all of his map control. It's going to be really tough to catch up in the Knight numbers, and Mr. Yo on the front with the crossbows, paying attention to where CL might run. Again, SY, man, they're playing so good. It was not easy, but damn, this team is just on top of it.
Man, you're exactly right. Look at those battering rams. They've literally cleaned up all 4 of those towers that easily. We've got Licks throwing up his extra town center in the center there on one of those goals. Definitely a good choice from him. And those 2 battering rams are just going to be able to pretty much clean up the rest of these towers now. So basically useless at this point.
Yep. Look at the Vill difference, man. Both SY players have more economy. Both SY players have more military. This is similar to a situation we found ourselves in last game. Around this time, actually. And this is when SY started pushing home their advantages.
I'm starting to feel worried, especially with CL's crossbows. Well, Plume's about to run into Yo's crossbows there. That definitely made me a little bit uneasy, but I think we're going to be okay in the long run. But Tim, he hasn't got anything really to contribute at the moment. He's gone the 2 stables. He's managing to get some Knights out. Has put a monastery up as well, so obviously trying to get some converts. But at this point, I don't know what he can kind of do to hold this out. Total map control at the moment to SY.
Yeah, and Spanish, they'd be good in late game for the trade. But Spanish Knights are worse at this stage than Berber Knights because Berber Knights have that discount. Also, Berbers can make camels, right? So there's really nothing going for Tim with that because it is more expensive for him to make the Knights. And he's also behind in numbers, right? So I'm loving this from Licks and Yo. Yo's crossbow positioning has always been on point today. And I'm waiting for CL to find an opportunity to get back into this game for his team. And he's forward at Yo's base.
He's trying to get it. Might get a couple of picks here as that university goes up. She'll get 2 by the looks of things. They're going to try and even it out a little bit. Looks like we've got our 3rd town center coming up from Licks, so we have a 2nd one from Tim as well. So they are kind of making a little bit of difference. Hopefully that tower should be enough to kind of stop it. A good wall there with the house.
Micro pretty good from CL. Obviously, Plume should be favored over the crossbows. So that's a small victory for him, killing a few vills, killing crossbows. That's good. But look at Tim's base, man. Look at Tim's base. This is not going to be easy for him.
What can you do about that? The Knights are coming in. They're going to push through the houses. They've obviously dealt with the barracks. They're just going to start pushing things out, start denying these farms now. And then it's just what brings us to the next stage of kind of domination here, really.
Yeah. Well, you play Maganel defense, and then you hope that you can counterattack and catch up in the Vill lead. And CL is really the guy now. It's got to be him. He has to hit the Imperial Age. He has to go for a few castles, and he has to push this. And there's a lot of vulnerable areas for Licks, especially with that TC in the center. Maybe there's an opportunity.
And that's it. I think at this stage they can't afford to miss any of those opportunities. They really have to kind of go for it. Trying to figure out what they're doing. And man, look at that. There's CL and Yo both getting loom.
Yeah, great timing. Great timing. It's fine. You don't need Loom. Loom is not important, guys. Wait, they would have had that had to have been a bug of some kind because they would have had Loom anyway at the start, right? I think they already had Loom because they're Mayans.
It must have been.
But anyway, they got Loom twice, guys. They got Loom twice, and why did they get double Loom? They got double Loom because of all the crossbows and plumed archers that are around. Look at this. Mr. Yo, again, on point, tracking CL.
Man, he just knows the place to be. His game sense has just been in a different league the last couple. I'm not sure exactly what you can do to really stop it. He's just in the right place at the right time. And because of that, he's denying pushes. He's denying little eco advantages. It's, oh, man.
And you know what else he's going to do? He's going to say hello to the Imperial Age in a second. He's about to click up.
Oh, man. This just gets worse and worse for Frantic at this stage.
Really does, man. Really does. Licks, he's again making camels now. So Tim's Knights, they've already been struggling to find areas to pressure, but it's going to be even more difficult now. And Yo's on the way to Imp.
Yo on his way to Imp. We've got them pushing in against CL now as well. If they get in against CL, CL's basically the hope for essentially Frantic at this point. Tim's kind of doing what he can. I've seen him throw Kite a couple of Knights away, actually, even a couple over towards CL's base. But man, it just creates issue after issue at this point.
Yep, so just something to point out, I think the overlay's bugged, so we got to cast old-fashioned style. A CL is also on the way to Imp, it's just not showing up on our fancy overlay. So for the viewers at home, CL's also on the way up. He has to hold here. And, oh my goodness, he's building a castle back next to his main gold. This was that gold that was supposed to be so safe. This is how bad it is for him.
Look at how many villages he's using to rush that up as well. That is rough having to kind of go like that. Obviously won't be able to, get in there and do the damage against the main gold now, but that's still just rough.
Yeah. Goodness gracious. And for Yo, he can go into plumes now, and he's doing it, and he's trading versus all the plumes of CL. So these crossbows are kind of a waste to him now. He doesn't want them anymore, and he's getting an effective trade with them. So this is so good on so many levels. Mr. Yo, who's played amazing today, Licks, who's played amazing today, they're in an amazing position. And wow, Yo wants to place a castle on the hill, on the front, right next to CL. There's nothing that can really stop him from building these. Okay,
the amount of Knights there.
Jeez, yeah.
Just from Licks in general. Like, Licks has got enough Knights there to be able to hold that one on his own if he wants to. But like you said, throwing those crossbows away, but getting every last penny for him he can overall as well. Managed to get some villages, got as many as they can in terms of the actual units themselves, the plumes. Just did everything he could. He knew they were going and just did the damage.
Yeah, so Licks is about to click up to the Imperial Age as well. He's just done so. So that will be 2 SY players in the Imperial Age. Tim is close, but he is not there yet, and he is already behind in numbers, as we know. And, oh, okay, he just sent a little bit of gold to CL, so maybe understanding he's later to Imp, he wants to give CL a bit of a boost.
Give him a little bit of a chance to get in there as much as he can. I like it. It's a little bit brutal overall in kind of what's happening now. We've got CL moving out to the front of his base, trying to take some position here as well. Got a siege workshop. He's got the castle going down. And, man, he's got the hills there as well, so potentially we could see a massive archer war over this.
Yeah,
but here come the Knights.
Those are important, man. Here come the Knights. I love how CL expects them, so he's going to go for a massive wall, typical of him. But he can't really click wall all of this, so the Knights will get in, and the trebuchets should die here. So unfortunately for him, he will not kill the castles. He will lose the trebs. And again, SY just on top of it, man.
And this is what we're seeing just again and again. They're in the right place, and they're in the right place together as well. Look, they're trying to clean up a couple of Knights here. Obviously, the plume's a little bit higher on the hill at the moment for Yo, so in a good position. Did the damage they need to, and they realized it's probably not the fight to take, so they got out of there.
And I'm kind of surprised that Yo didn't start off with trebs. I mean, now he's making one, and he also is thinking about rams, but I think an initial few trebuchets would have been really helpful at this stage. I could have maybe killed that castle already, so giving CL and Tim time, but Overlay says they're advancing to feudal age. Trust me, they are not. This is the triple tech mod, guys, okay? They're just going through all the techs again. That's what it is. Camels and Knights being spammed by Licks as he's defending against Tim as Tim sends in a small raid. But there's
Man,
the Imperial Age for Lix, man, and this is where it gets tough.
Lix knows exactly what's going on here. He's got his units there, but it looks like we might be losing a couple of those trebuchets for Yo at the moment in the middle there. Cavalier on its way as well, so really starting to make a little bit of a difference.
Yep. So with capped Rams and with soon Cavalier, will this castle stay up? Can CL survive? He's losing a few more trebuchets, 3 more. Oh God.
They're trading
so
right
many
now. Like,
plumes.
those knights are just running straight under a castle. They are running into the plumes. But at the end of the day, look at the amount of siege they've taken out.
Yeah.
They take so much.
And these are not elite plumes for CL either. They are elite plumes for Yo. Full upgrades, in fact. And the castle's getting pushed down. I know that it probably wasn't ideal for Lix to take the fight prior to his upgrades, but does it matter? And that's the GG, I assume. It says game paused for us. I assume the GG was called there because if you look at the populations, you look at the military numbers, there's really just no way back for the Frantic team.
Oh man, it was just Frantic have been playing well, but the thing is, SY at the moment, they've just been a league above. The team play they've had has really been putting them into a good situation. They've been taking the right fights every single situation they can. They've been taking it all from there, and that's just brutal.
All right, sweet. Well, there's the KD. If we want to move right along to the achievements, man, it came down to dealing with the forwards, didn't it? SY dealt with the forward, and then their economy was much stronger. I think that CL did well. He was still slightly behind Yo on his side, but Tim definitely didn't do enough versus Lix. There were a few questionable towers, and his castle age time was later than it should have been. 82 kills for CL. That was not enough to win this game because it comes down to the economy that Yo and Lix had. More food, more gold for Lix, the guy going knights, and then more wood and more stone for Yo. Those stats were the exact same in the previous game, by the way. Lix had more food and more gold, and Yo had more wood and more stone.
Well, there you go. Crazy kind of things to be looking at there at the overall as well. And I just can't believe how well SY are playing this one at the moment. They just strategy after strategy and just nearly flawless execution every time.
Yeah, man. And Frantic are on the brink of being swept in the final by SY. I expected Frantic to do a little bit better here. I definitely gave the edge to SY going into this. We'll have to see if Frantic can bring it back.
It's got to feel good for SY, right? I mean, they got to the final last time versus Secret and lost 3-0. And now they get to be in the final after beating Secret and they're up 2-0. So that's got to feel good to be them.
Yeah, man. And in the overall standings, they are in second place already, right? Mm-hmm. So if they win this, do they go ahead of Secret or are they tied?
They will go ahead of Secret, I believe. In fact, we'll actually have the league table updated at the end of this set. So we'll be able to show you the standings as they are at the end of the 2v2 stage once this set is concluded. But of course, Frantic could bring it back. There's such a thing as a reverse sweep, and it has happened before.
Yeah, we don't want to call it too early. Frantic obviously showed in the quarters and the semis that they deserve to be here and have the skill to win.
Yeah, definitely. So I think we should be ready to go into the next game. I think give it another minute just in case we're missing anyone from the game room. But yeah, I mean, it seems to me like SY, more aggression from them, and they seem to make it work.
Yeah, man. This is like Mr. Yo of old, isn't it? We said this. I think I had this conversation with you, Zach, after the 1v1, I think, quarters when Yo played. I was just blown away. Yes. And then in the 4v4, he was not the Mr. Yo of old. And now he's back. So he's played really well. Arguably the second most consistent or the most consistent player of the tournament.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he really is a powerhouse. And he's one of those guys that in team games, he always shows up. I mean, I think of Mr. Yo like the Viper of China, and I think of him as like the Miguel of Brazil, you know? He's one of those players that is like a cornerstone of the team. They're always going to be performing no matter what. Yeah,
man. So are we good to go?
I think so, yeah. I will give the word to Robo to start the next game. Should be a little easier to stay synced. That last game, by the way, had a drop, so yes. We had to cast it individually, but we're back to doing it as a group now.
Yeah, game is a 20-year-old game, so we figured it out. We get like there's so many features we have now, and if something's just a second off, we get so spoiled and forget that this game is quite an old game, and we're in a wonderful position for it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game number 3. And this is between SY and Frantic. This is the final of the ECL Africa 2v2. And it's been looking pretty good for SY, huh, Turk? It's been dominant. It has been impressive. And it's almost like gods versus mortals right now. So
the way they've been playing.
Yeah,
you just cannot fault them at the moment. They're taking maybe 1 or 2 bad picks at the fight, at the start, and then straight from there, it's just flawless execution.
Yeah, well, I'm going to start with Frantic and hopefully send them a little bit of energy here. We have CL playing as the Magyars in the yellow, and then in the red, we have Tim. Tim is playing as the Ethiopians. The map is Serengeti.
Towards the north of the map, we do have our guys SY currently up quite a bit. We do have Yo playing in the blue as the Ethiopians. And then his partner, of course, Lix in the green playing as the Indians.
Okay, so a non-mirror matchup. We have the difference being Magyars and Indians, right? So Ethiopians, we know what they're good at. They have the faster firing archers. You can open, especially on a map like this, with man-at-arms as well before the archers. Indians typically go for their scouts. Magyars typically go for their scouts. And then they go into their well, Indians would be camels, and then Magyars would be knights. So we'll see who has the edge. Magyars get the free attack on the knights, and I'm just laughing here because Lix has his scout next to CL's scout, and CL was dancing on that little hill there. But anyway, man, we'll have to see what the difference is because I think this could be fairly close.
Man, at this point in time, when such an open map as well, it makes walling a little bit harder, which we have been seeing a lot of in this tournament thus far, especially in the semis, in the last couple of games. It's just a matter of who can get aggressive, who can get 1 or 2 picks at the start, and then if it snowballs out of control.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen this map before, you have an elephant, which is the boar equivalent. It's a little bit more food, though, which is nice. You have zebras, or zebra, as the Aussies say. And then we have the ostriches. So there's plenty of food to be had. There's very few trees. So sorry, Force Nothing fans. It's not going to happen here.
Small puddles kind of across the map as well. A little bit of shorefish in them, but I don't think we've really seen anyone take them yet. Can be used a little bit in terms of help with the wall off overall. But looking at this at the moment, I don't think anyone's got a clear advantage when it comes to actually being able to wall things off.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's tough. You know, you have multiple golds, multiple wood lines. I think this will come down to scouting. Again, I mentioned this earlier when we were casting on my stream. Players lure their deer, or their ostriches, their zebras. They lure them in. They lure them all in, and they rarely scout early. And we have seen players surprised. I actually think that Tim was surprised in the previous set, if I remember correctly. Or was it Tim surprising? So I don't know. I don't know. It was somebody surprising somebody, and that person was surprised because they didn't scout what their opponent was doing and where they were. So please keep that in mind as the strategies unfold.
There's just so much to look at in this one straight away. I'm kind of going through trying to see. I think Yo's probably got the most defensive map. We can already see him trying to get a wall up. So really trying to move with that one overall. But who's got the worst? I'm looking at Tim and Tim potentially. But that said, looking at Lix, actually, the small wood he's got at the back there, quite a while to anything extra.
Just checking a few things. So fun fact about Yo's base, because it looks like it's an easy wall. You see that light terrain there? You cannot build on that, which is unfortunate for him. So he had to change the direction of the wall. He'll still be able to do it, but he can't wall us forward.
What a fun time. Just making life harder and harder. But hey, look, at this point, I'm sure they could use the handicap.
You know what? If I was playing versus CL or Tim and I could choose, I would want more of that terrain. That way they couldn't tower me. That's a safe wood line right there. That wood line can't be towered. That's perfect.
True. That's going to help. Everything helps, right?
That would be funny. I really like to see that where someone goes YOLO tower rush and finds that terrain and they're like, well, shit.
Game over, man. Game over.
Yeah.
What have we got? We've got everyone up to feudal age. Lick's going up a little bit earlier. Did sacrifice the one villager to be able to do that, going up on 19 instead of 20. But hopefully it means we will see him get a little bit aggressive overall. And of course, I guess it kind of comes down to how he wants to play this one. And I guess going up a little bit earlier, he does want to see that happen.
Lick's just lost his scout. So again, late scouting, you're in more of a rush to find your opponent's eco. He lost the scout, but he's still a goat. So I don't know. Do you want scouting info or do you want a tasty goat? It's kind of hard to say.
That's it, right? The tasty goat seems pretty good, especially in this situation.
Yeah, man. It's even scouting for him. It's scouting before it's eaten. What a legend.
All right, what else have we got? Yo finishing up that wall across there, doing his best with that section. And it looks like we haven't seen walls from CL yet. This might be a new record.
Wait. Yeah, exactly, man. It's like every game he walls less. What is going wrong with him? It's like it's a meme now, but the guy is obviously a great player with or without walls. So he is going to build his stable now, and he will go scouts. And then his ally, Tim, is building the archery ranges. This is what we expected. And then
pretty much,
mirroring
the
each
exact
other.
Same play going down. You got Licks going down with the stable. We've got the archery range coming down from Yo. I think it's pretty much what to be expected. Now we just had Yo lose his scout over to Tim as well.
Yep, and that villager's going out there. I guess he was trying to win the scout war, right, or help out his scout, and he was too late. So that's good for Tim. Again, scouting info very important at this stage. You know your opponent's going archers usually, but where are the archers? Are they staying at home? Are they going forward? That's crucial info.
I guess that's the big question to kind of ask, and that's what those scouts are so damn handy for. Being able to kind of just cruise around, and it looks like CL's actually starting to do a good job walling off at the moment. The latest wall we've probably seen by him, but it's definitely happening. Tim, looks like he's starting to kind of get it out there. And there we go. Literally, as I said, he drops a whole bunch of palisades.
And 3 villagers. He's like, wait, we're a little bit behind the walling schedule here. Let's double down on the workforce. He's actually housed badly at the moment. 3 villagers building a house. And that's not a good sign. That means he'll be slightly lower in vill numbers, slightly lower on archer numbers as well.
Alrighty. What do we got? CL pretty much closing off at the moment using some palisade, just leaving a little open front towards that hill there, towards the left of his mill. We've got Licks kind of doing the same at this point, walling off around the back. And man, that's just a tough wall off for him. Really sad to see it happen like that, but so be it. And he's putting up an early tower as well, actually, on his goal, just to the left of his town center.
Yep, early tower, and if you shift more towards the south, more towards the center, the armies are fighting, or they were. Licks just fought CL back, and I think this is just it's not passive play, but players are hesitant to push out now. They know how crazy this map can be, so they don't want to leave themselves exposed. And I think, especially with so much at stake here, it makes perfect sense. SY, they have a 2-0 lead. And Frantic, they don't want to slip up again. They don't want to lose another game. Definitely don't want to get 3-0'd by a team which are probably considered rivals in China.
Oh, absolutely, man. And that's exactly what you were saying there. You don't want to kind of move out too quickly. And at the same time, there's a lot on the line with this game. Maybe not so much for SY in general, just because they're already 2 up. But if Frantic get caught out of position or something like that, they don't have another chance. This is it.
Yeah. Yep. You do have a little bit of flexibility, I guess, if you are SY, and this is where the archers are moving out. The CL loses a scout. Oh, both teams coming forward, but this will be better for SY because they have the hill.
They've got the hill, manages to kind of move forward. Doesn't really manage to get too many hits on the archers there overall. Trying to push what they can. Tim getting to the top of a hill, however.
Yep.
And it looks like Licks is out of position.
Yeah, well, Yo knows that. Yo goes back. And guys, this is very impressive teamwork. For those at home watching this, there is no cartography. So if you click Yo's point of view for a second and you go to his fog of war, he has to stay within the line of sight of these scouts, right? Both teams are doing this, and this is a good fight for Frantic. That was what they needed. Of course, I'm talking about how Yo is tracking his ally and tracking the enemy so closely, and then he slips up for a second, and that's what can happen if you do. You lose archers, you can't push forward any longer, and maybe now we'll see the Frantic players try and hit the exposed bases.
Oh, man. See, the teamwork level we're seeing at the moment here, it's just like one little push like that. The battle's kind of over before it starts. Get a couple of kills, and they go, we just have to get out of there. We're going to lose everything. Otherwise, it may just not be worth it.
It was quite awkward as well because they did get the hill, but then they went down it just a tad. And so Tim and CL, they did more damage with their attack because of the hill bonus.
It's these little things that kind of really push us into this level of play we're at now. And that's the impressive point we've hit. It's just the hill bonus matters so much. Losing 2 or 3 archers just matters, man. Even the scouts we saw over there.
Well, it's a game about very small things, a lot of specifics that lead up towards the big fights. And one other thing is you have to consider is how many scouts you create. If you think back to, I think, game number 1, CL created a few too many scouts. Then he ran into walls, and then his castle age was later, and then his team fell behind. This time, though, he is the first to click up, so it seems like he learned his lesson. And Lix and Yo are kind of waiting. Like, where are these Frantic guys at? Well, they're actually heading over towards Lix's gold.
Well, they've done a good job here, and CL just so on point, like you said there. His problem in the first game was he built too many scouts. At this time, he's kind of had the perfect amount. He's managed to get the picks. He's managed to get up to castle age nice and quickly. And this is where things get rough.
Yeah, and this is also where you need to be quite careful, because if you're Frantic, you have ventured into SY territory, right? So you could possibly overextend here, especially now you see CL is not with his ally. You have to be very careful. Lix is trying to track down these archers, and he's about to find them. So just something to think about.
Absolutely. The moment they kind of leave their teammate's side, it gives them the possibility of being 2v1'd, and it's just not the situation you want. Losing any kind of units for just a minimal trade in general, the efficiency just goes out the window, and that's where you get stuck in a lot of 2v1 situations. But here come the archers in the back of Yo.
And Yo somehow saves his villagers from that, but you know, I think Tim and CL can stay here. CL has such a big castle time advantage. Let's see.
Ooh.
Mr. Yo has been looking for these as well. He's slower, so he wasn't with his ally. And I guess what CL has done is he's distracted Yo so Tim can run away. And Tim he's just passing, guys. No need to kill him. He's just passing.
Just a little bit of cat and mouse being played at the moment. You can see Lix is out scouting. He's trying to find where they've gone because they need that line of sight. They need to know where they've gone.
This is great. He can't find them, bro. He has a scout on the left. He has scouts in the north. He can't find them. And this is brilliant. Even Yo can't find him. They have no clue. He's Houdini.
Oh, it's great. And if he comes back in over the line again, the villagers have been moved, so it doesn't make it quite so easy. But we should start some knights, and here they come.
They found them. Tim will have to fight here against the scouts, and he needs to keep every archer he can alive. CL is in Castle Age now, and he'll be sending knights forward, but he won't be here in time to help. At least I do not think so. But you know what? I'd say they distracted SY at least.
It's looking good right now. Oh, I'm not sure exactly
That's
how it's going to go. CL getting a lot of hits.
That's a good fight. Those are just scouts. That's a great fight for those being just scouts. That's what +2 defense does for you. And the free Magyar attack. So Magyar is so far performing better, and now we have to see how will Magyars perform against Indians, because remember, Lix is in Castle Age, he can make the Indian camels, and on the front of Lix's base, he's actually being outgunned because of all the upgrades CL has.
There you go. Even with the direct counter there, he's being forced to pull back. We should be seeing crossbow, yes, pretty much on the way for Yo. Same goes with Bodkin. So minimizing the amount of damage they can do by getting that fight in early. Like you said, the scout's getting a really efficient trade overall.
Yep. And Tim will have a slight numbers lead over Yo on the left-hand side. Both players will have crossbow and Bodkin. So I think this is the game that Frantic needed, man. They have played slightly better here. There's not a lot in it because the ecos are similar. There's a chance, of course, that maybe the Indian camels can turn this around or the dominant micro of Yo. But Frantic, they have that slight lead they want, man. They need to continue to push it here.
That's it. I like the way they've decided not to overextend. So they've kind of fought a little bit here at the front of Lix's base, pulled back. It looks like CL is going to be moving over towards Yo, actually, looking at this.
Yep. All right. Well, it's kind of interesting because we have CL and Tim going to the left, and then we have the other players going to the right. And Frantic is reacting now. Frantic is reacting, and they're going to play more defensively. These Indian camels, man, +3/+3. This is where the Magyar Knights can really struggle. That's not what CL needed in his life.
Not the engagement you want.
and Tim is kind of separated from all this.
Here we go. It looks like the crossbows will be on that hill a little bit, and here comes the fight versus Tim as well. The micro fight is on. We've got the camels and the knights here as well. Camels trying to soak up the bulk.
The knights will destroy the crossbows. They will absolutely destroy the crossbows if they get in close, and that's exactly what CL went for. And now, Tim, with the crossbows he has left, he's microing on the hill. If he micros down the camels, then they should win this fight. But there's so many camels coming in. What a close fight. Goodness. What a close fight. But the Indian camels will prove to be decisive.
Here we go again. It looks like they will start to get that slight advantage here in the middle. Him doing a really good job overall in most of this gameplay here, but at the same time, there we go, a monk in from CL as well, so really going to be able to try and hold this back. And it looks like they will hold, but maybe not the best fight in the middle.
Look at the economies, man. Tim is at 49 villagers. Mr. Yo on his side, 63. It is then 56 vills for Licks. It is 57 for CL, so technically, SY somehow are now ahead in economy, and I'd say that they probably have the best matchups now because I like Indian Camels over the Magyar Knights for obvious reasons after watching that fight.
Yeah, it kind of came down pretty heavy there, and that fight kind of showed you exactly what we can kind of expect to see out of a lot of this combination. Even as the game progresses, we're just going to start seeing more and more and more at the end there. What have we got? We've got more crossbows joining the fray for Yo, moving in from the top of the map there. Tim sending over a bunch of crossbows as well, so going to be able to help his opponent here. It looks like this is where the action is going to be until, I guess, SY decide to dictate it further, but here we go. We've got CL and Tim pushing out onto that hill.
Yep, Licks needs to leave this. Licks is on patrol as well, so his units will automatically attack. He loses a camel, he loses some HP, and yep, he does choose to run back to his base. Mr. Yo was actually on the way to that hill, and now he's being caught out here, so I definitely like Frantic's position more in terms of military. They have a lot more numbers, a lot more control.
Here come the camels. Might be able to save some crossbows, but at the end of the day, the crossbows from Tim will move in as well and be able to melt these pretty quickly.
Oh, I like it a lot, as well as the pond helping, maybe blocking the retreat. Licks is kind of split off from his main forces. Yo is kind of split off from this as well. Yo, I'm sorry, is looping around the pond to the north. But where do they go? You know, it's really tough to know. And wow, Yo's on the way to Imp. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, Yo?
What is it with Yo and getting up to Imp so quickly? I can't believe he manages to do this.
I mean, again, he has a huge vill lead over Tim, so he has sacrificed military numbers for this. And now his ally's paying the price, but maybe that will be the answer. This TC from Licks, though, that's not going to stay up. And Licks needs to bring his camels back. They're on the way back as well as Yo's crossbows. What a fight.
Might get in there just in time. Here go the villagers, though. I'm watching them go down, and it's not a pretty sight, but some more camels pop as well.
Yo can keep the TC up. He can garrison again. And there's a lot of camels here, man. There's a lot of camels. Good fight. I think that's a great fight. And Yo's on the way to the Imperial Age. It's not like he sacrificed any numbers for that. Oh my god.
What just happened? They managed to both move across from their separate positions and push it on top of that. And Frantic are keeping it. They want this fight.
Oh my goodness. Frantic's actually retreating now. They realized that was probably a bad decision. And this is all before Mr. Yo hits the Imperial Age. He is the most economy in the game as well. So we said it before this started. Mr. Yo has been playing, in my opinion, the best Age of Empires of this section of the tournament anyway. Easily top 2 or top 3 in the event, and easily top 2 or top 3 in the world. With the Imperial Age coming in, man, how do you even respond to that if you're Frantic?
I couldn't believe what we kind of saw there. The way I thought that town center was long gone. The push there was just inevitable, but the way they kind of brought that back together, they were both there right in the nick of time. And look at this, Imperial just cracking in for Mr. Yo right now.
Yep, and now it just gets more and more difficult. The response has to be defensive castles, because you normally would know that your opponent hasn't been on stone if they advance to Imp this early. So defensive castles, just to hold. Tim's going to do that on the left here, on this hill, I believe. Yep. Then you maybe have CL come to the left. It seems like all players are coming to the left for Frantic, and hope the Knights do something. Oh my god.
All right, Tim going for the most game castle I've seen in a while. What is this?
I think we need to get a check. Is this Doubt or is this Tim? Can we get a confirmation, please? Wow.
This is game, but that said, look at how far out of position SY are to deal with.
Castle is, yeah, I mean, you're right, man. He has a lot more military than Yo, and he has knights now on this side. This castle could actually be the trick. And
I think it's gonna go up, man. I don't think it's
gonna go up
at all.
So I think we've confirmed it. That's definitely not doubt because that castle wasn't even delayed. So we know.
It can still be stalled, but I think we're gonna be good.
Stalling is not a doubt, Castle. So I think we're good to go. And they could push Yo, who is in the Imperial Age. What a game this would be. What a victory this would be. Look at all the military they have, man.
They're literally in his base right now.
Yeah,
that lumber line's completely open. You've got the lumber line in the back as well. There's farms, stone, like they can do damage here. They might be able to bring this one back to even 90 villages at the current count.
Yeah, they might be able to. Look at CL though. Look at CL though. You're wondering where Yo's military is. Well, it is here. And CL, oh, he's so close to clicking up to Imp. It's so unfortunate. He just doesn't have the res. And Tim's on the way up. Lix is on the way up. And I think Yo will hold in his base. So SY have brought this game back with a fast imp from Mr. Yo. Well, I don't even want to call it a fast imp. It's obviously not a fast imp, but it was a rather fast imp, a rather fast boom. And CL is in big, big trouble.
What do you do here? He's spread all the way to the eastern corner of the map to take wood at this point. He's trying to get an extra town center over there as well. But look at these arbalests. They're just sitting under it. Here comes the villager pop. And he's noticed. Here go the villagers.
Villagers are dying, TCs are dying, and what's he have? He has knights against Indian camels and Ethiopian arbalests. Tim arrives because he needs to arrive now, but he does not have the upgrades. So he won't win this fight. He will not free CL of the two Frantic players that are in his base.
And that was a dark sentence. There was a lot of knots happening there.
Yeah, and Tim, he's taking a gamble here. He's sending his crossbows to the north into Lix's base, or trying to, but it's just a lot of wasted time for him, isn't it? That's a huge ball, huge number, and he can't find any use for them.
And that's where it hurts. The units are just not being used efficiently at this point. That's not because Tim's a bad player. It's because SY in general have just made left side, and look at these arbalests just shred them.
Yep.
Couple of three.
This is Tim Houdini part 2, except this time he's been found pretty quick. And that army will be upgraded soon, but the point is that Tim has nothing back at home to help his ally, and I think his ally could die soon. Heavy camel on the way for Lix. There's nothing that CL can do alone against that.
I'm just looking at, and it's just getting 2v1 here. You've got Yo just pushing some crossbows across the map, trying to get rid of them there. Looks like they might run into Lix's new town center there, so potentially could get a couple of kills, but it shouldn't be too much of a big deal.
It's just CL, man. CL is just kind of out of the game. It's got to be Tim now, and maybe Tim can do it with some wacky stuff. He's building a castle on the left, which is really weird, but he sees the gold and the stone there, so he's trying to take advantage of it.
Man, he's just doing his best, but look at that. There's 3 trebs literally just sitting there for Yo. They're just looking for something to move in on, and they spot that castle, there's going to be issues.
Yep, and he already sees it. And he'll send the trebs over, so I don't see Tim keeping this castle up for very long. And the Arbs in the back, well, he's going to win the fight, Tim, but it'll probably get cleaned up by the camels, which will have full Imperial Age upgrade soon.
Oh man, that's so much armor.
Yeah. Well, you know what, CL? He believes. Sometimes you just have to have a little bit of belief, Barbecue Turk, man. And
gotta have that faith.
He's getting Cavalier. He does have that extra attack. So he's going over to Yo's base maybe to kill the trebs. Not that will matter because the castle's already dead, but something. There's got to be a way.
He's just trying to make something happen. There goes Yo. Oh man, Yo managed to take down Tim's castle on the hill there pretty easily. Trebuchet down to 5 HP as well. Not kind of what you want to see. And that TC from Tim now, extremely exposed.
And Imperial Camel's now on the way for Lick. So I will be honest. I had a little bit of belief, but that belief is fading now that I see that upgrade on the way. So maybe a 97.1% favor to SY.
It's not looking pretty accurate. You're right. You've got conscription coming down for Lix and Imperial Camel. The rate is going to get these things out. In fact, they're not going to have anything they can really use to push into them.
Yep.
And look at that. Cap Rams on Yo's, from Yo onto Tim's TC, just down below where he's just destroyed. This is kind of the beginning of the end, unless something special happens.
Yeah, man. Everywhere you look, it is just SY. SY on the right, SY on the left, SY in the center. And I think it's the center that will end this game because the Trebs are pushing forward or rolling forward, and the Arbs are there as well for Yo with some licks Imperial Camels.
And here we go. Yo's going to push up the hill. He's brought his Trebs with him as well. The Imperial Camels going to be great for just soaking up arrow fire and nothing else. And here at the moment, look at them. They're just going to get through those Cavalier like butter.
Yeah. And this fight doesn't even matter. This might be 50-50. This fight doesn't really even matter. It's just the fact that CL is getting wrecked, man. 73 pop. He's getting completely destroyed. He's just not in this game anymore.
And that's the thing. What do you do in a 2v1 against this kind of caliber of players? In come more Indian Camels just after the Arbalest kind of get knocked out of there. Going to be able to keep those Trebuchets alive. And this is the push coming. Oh, it's not looking good.
Yeah. Well, what you do in a 2v1 with this type of players with this amount of skill, you call the GG, and there it is.
You call GG.
It's just crazy to me how good Yo and Lix played in these 2v2s. I'd like to remind you, in the quarterfinals, they made Viper and Slam look foolish for Secret. They made them look foolish. They were quick games, and then they moved on, and the semifinals were dominant, and then the finals were dominant. And this is all on the back of a 4v4 event where they looked foolish in the finals versus Secret. So obviously, SY in more shape now. Obviously, SY have the skill, and take nothing away from Frantic. Frantic played really well too. They potentially surprised many people and got many fans today. But what a performance in the finals from SY. I can't say much more about it, man. It was just perfection.
Yeah, the level of teamwork we kind of saw going there, the level of strategy, the level of play, just picking their battles so efficiently. This is kind of what you want to see overall. And it's definitely play from both teams worthy of a grand final for this event. And it just comes down to show just how good SY are.
Yeah. Well, again, we'll look at the achievements. And this is the first time in the final that SY did not leave in every economic category. I almost want to watch that recorded game again so I can figure out how Yo ended up with a 30-bill lead over Tim and a faster imp, because he was the one that was slightly behind Tim for a little while there, you know? Like, I don't know what Yo was doing. I don't know what he ate, what he drank before that game, but he skyrocketed up, dude. That was crazy.
It's just an amazing level of play. It would be nice to go back through and see exactly how it was done, because to get that far ahead, and that's the thing, Tim is a phenomenal player in himself. So being able to kind of pull that far ahead, and the thing is, early on, we didn't see that many Vil trades really happen. So there must have been something in there in the play that Yo just snatched and ran with.
Well, I think we should move on, and we should look at the standings, because that is the most important thing to address now, man. Congrats to SY.
I agree,
Zach,
T90.
let's
I
look
agree.
at it, man.
I've just switched it now, and with that victory, SY will be sitting at the top of the standings, 2 points clear of Team Secret X Tyrant with that victory, and that's pretty solid for them. They've performed really well throughout the whole tournament so far, and obviously Frantic as well. They're currently now in 3rd place, and although that was a very dominant performance from SY, a 3-0 sweep, and to be honest, I expected it to be a little closer, they're still in 3rd place quite comfortably with a 4-point lead over the 4th position VNA.
Yeah. Wow, man. I would have said going into this tournament, if I were to choose top 2, I would have probably said Secret SY.
Okay.
However, 3 and 4 would have been really tough.
Yeah.
And I did not expect AM to be at number 7. That's for sure. I did not expect Vietnam Legends to be number 4 either. In all honesty, I probably would have had BZK or Suomi above Vietnam Legends. So good for them.
Absolutely, and obviously it's early days. This tournament does feature best of 3s in the quarterfinals, which, you know, is definitely it definitely provides the potential for an upset, right? A best of 3, it has more upset potential than a best of 5. So I think for that reason, we could be seeing some upsets earlier in the tournament. I mean, keep in mind, of course, as well, that every team will play every other team twice in the quarterfinals. And Aftermath at the moment in 7th position, but you have to consider they faced Secret in round 1 in the previous event, and then they didn't have a great start at all in the first event in the 1v1s.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look great for them now, but this is the second event out of 7, so there's a lot of time ahead of us, a lot of games ahead of us, and a lot of opportunity for movement within this league table.
Well, if you're looking at individual sets in Age of Empires 2, it has always come down to consistency. Like Viper, for example, in a best of 7 final, he very rarely has 4-0'd it. He's actually lost games and shown that he is human, right? So not only do you need to be consistent in this event in one single set, but there's 2v2s, 3v3s, 4v4. So it's almost like mini tournaments, right? Mini events that you have to be consistent with. So sure, you might not win every one, but you have to make sure that you are at least placing. Otherwise, you're not going to come close to qualifying for that LAN.
Yep, absolutely. And that's what it's all about, really. I mean, the top 2 spots are the coveted spots. They're the ones that everybody is playing for, really, because at the end, the top 2 teams will be going to the LAN final. That will be an offline grand final, which will be streamed live, but the teams will be flown into one location and go face-to-face across the table from each other. And that is the most exciting part about this whole tournament, in my opinion. But I also like to see the variety of maps, the variety of civs, the variety of formats, and I think it's all about putting the teams through their paces in every possible conceivable way.
Yeah, man, I'm pumped for it. I've really enjoyed casting these games. I enjoyed having Barbecue Turkman here as a co-caster. I was telling him it's been about 1.5 years since we could do this. So thank you, man. It was a lot of fun.
It's been beautiful, man. Always the best time.
Yeah, thanks Turk as well. Appreciate it. And T90, of course, for coming along and casting for the finals here. You could obviously check out T90's Twitch channel, and I think your YouTube channel is linked as well, Turk. If you type !casters, you can go follow those guys over on their respective channels, streaming, making videos, and producing all that good Age of Empires 2 content. We'll actually be back here in 2 weeks' time for the 3v3s. We haven't had 3v3s yet, so that will be the first 3v3 event on Saturday, the 29th of September. Same time, same place. I don't know what the casting schedule's like off the top of my head, but it will be streamed here, and it will be streamed in other places as well. I don't know if you're streaming that one, Tristan.
No, I have my hidden cup, unfortunately.
Oh, of course, yeah,
so,
I remember.
Yeah.
Cool.
So unfortunately, I mean, I will do that'll be the quarters, correct? So
yeah, that'll be quarters.
Yep. So for the semis and the finals, of course, I'll be getting involved.
Yep. Great. And yeah, I'm really excited for the 3v3s as well. In my personal opinion, I think 3v3 is the most exciting format for Age of Empires 2 when it comes to team games. I'd rather see a 3v3 than a 2v2 or a 4v4.
It's tough for me, man. Like, I think you can pretty much go in order. I like 1v1s first, 2v2s second, 3v3s third, and 4v4s last. But 2v2s and 3v3s are very different, and I'm excited for it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, guys, don't forget to follow this channel. Don't forget to check out the giveaway. It's linked below the stream. Win a Microsoft Surface Pro. And before we leave you today, I will say a few more thank yous because I'm sure, yeah, we missed some stuff. Thank you to Folder of Doom for the 100 bits. Nova for the $2. He said, "There's my 2 cents." I mean, $2. Good stuff. Then there was some Zendijas with a very Spanish message. I'm going to attempt to read this out. Nacho, te sigo hasta el fin del mundo con el EOE. Y Tatito, eres perfecto nomás. Thanks for the $1. And thank you to Loon Moon for the sub, Jaguar NAC for the sub, and Kraka for the sub as well. Thank you guys for the support. We appreciate that. And we'll be seeing you in 2 weeks' time. Any final words from you, Barbecue Turkman?
Oh, it's been absolutely beautiful to be here, to have such an event going on at the moment, showcasing so many different point of views of a game we love so much. It's been beautiful. Thank you for everyone for making this possible, and especially all the viewers out there.
Yeah, pretty much same for me, man. Really enjoyed being here. Absolutely amazed at how many people show up to the streams nowadays. So definitely stay tuned for more EscapeAoE streams. Also, I'm going to plug Barbecue Turkman's content. He doesn't really make many videos anymore, but if you check out his YouTube channel, I think there's a Wacky Wednesday playlist you guys might like. I remember watching that playlist prior to making content, so we're talking like 5 years ago, and it's a classic. So put that on the list of things to watch, guys, and have a good one.
That was back
in going back.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's back in the Barbecue Empires era.
Yeah, man.
That was it, man.
Yep.
Oh, good stuff. All right, well, thank you everyone for watching. We will see you next time. Hopefully, I'm not forgetting to mention anything or say anything or do anything. The predictions. They have now all been closed and calculated. And the leaderboard can be seen on the escape.gg website. Escape.gg, by the way, we'll be updating it this week with all the new information, countdowns, and all the good stuff that you need to see about the tournament. It's all going to be on that website, including the predictions, where you can see the leaderboard and start to dial in your predictions for the 3v3 event, which will be opening in the next week. So we'll keep you updated with that on social media. If you want to follow us on Facebook or Twitter, we'll be posting there with updates about that. So thanks everyone for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the games today, and we'll see you next time.